I met Luke Carter on a Tuesday in February. It was one of those gray Seattle afternoons where even the rain felt tired. I was late for my shift at the Pike Place Book Cafe, and he was sitting on the floor between two shelves, cross legged, flipping through a worn copy of East of Eden. His jeans were soaked from the rain, and he looked like he hadn't slept in days. I almost walked past him, but some flicker in his eyes, made me stop. You planning to buy that or memorize it word for word? I joked, adjusting my barista apron. He looked up slowly, blinking like he hadn't seen another person in a while. I'm memorizing it, he said. It's the only therapy I can afford. That was Luke. Unfiltered, raw, sometimes funny without trying to be. Over the next few weeks, he became a fixture at the cafe. He never ordered anything but black coffee, and he always sat in the same corner, scribbling into a tattered moleskin notebook. He told me he was working on something important. A blueprint for healing, he'd say, half smirking. I didn't ask what he meant. Part of me didn't want to know. Part of me was afraid I already did. He was broken. You could see it in his hunched shoulders, the way he flinched when the milk steamer hissed too loud. But he was also brilliant, thoughtful. He'd quote Rilke when talking about heartbreak and referenced astrophysics when explaining why he couldn't sleep. I wasn't trying to fix him. I swear I wasn't. But maybe I hoped he'd find something steady in me, something worth staying for. One rainy evening, I walked him out after closing time. The street was slick, and our breath fogged in the air like ghosts. Why do you always write in that notebook? I asked. He looked down at it, thumbed the edges. Because if I don't write it down, the pain owns me. When I write, it's like I get to own it back. You don't have to do it alone, you know. He didn't answer. He just slipped the notebook into his coat and walked into the night like a scene from a black and white film. I didn't see him for 2 weeks. I worried, of course. Seattle isn't kind to the quiet. I asked around, checked hospitals, shelters. Nothing. Then one day he showed up, eyes clearer than I'd ever seen them. He had a job, some overnight security gig at the museum. Said he liked the silence. He looked healthier, almost like hope had started sneaking into his bones again. I've been unraveling, he told me, sipping his coffee. And weirdly, it feels good. Like maybe there's a version of me under all this mess that's worth finding. And I smiled, because I knew then. He didn't need me to fix him. He needed to undo himself, piece by piece. And I was lucky enough to witness it. Our conversations deepened. They were never about us, not directly. He spoke in metaphors. I spoke in cautiously offered questions. He once told me that humans are like planets, gravity pulling things in, pushing others out, hoping something or someone would orbit long enough to call it home. Then one night, he brought me a new moleskin. This one's for you, he said. Start writing. You carry too much silence. I laughed. I don't have your words, Luke. You don't need mine. Yours are enough. I started writing the next day. Mostly about him, if I'm honest. About the way his voice softened when talking about art. The way he looked at the world like it owed him nothing but still hoped for something good. Months passed. His scars didn't vanish, but they faded into the background. Mine did too. We talked less about pain and more about potential. He never told me everything, and I never asked for more than he could give. One summer evening, we sat on the rooftop of his building, feet dangling over the edge, watching the ferries drift through Elliott Bay. Do you ever wish things had been easier? I asked. All the time, he said. But if they had, maybe I'd never have met you. Silence hung between us, not awkward, not heavy, just honest. I wanted to reach out, to hold his hand. But I didn't. Because sometimes love isn't about claiming. Sometimes it's about witnessing, about staying beside someone while they slowly reclaim themselves. That's what I did. And when he published his first book, a collection of essays and poetry titled Unravel Me, he signed my copy with one line. Thank you for not trying to save me. You just stayed. That was enough. He needed to break apart. I needed to see what emerged from the cracks. In the end, we didn't fall in love in the traditional sense. We didn't exchange promises or move in together or post couple selfies. But we changed each other, quietly, profoundly. He needed me to fix him, but I wanted him to unravel. And somehow, in the space between those two things, we both found peace.